Hi, third grade. Detectives in Togas, Chapter 4. Remember to write a summary in your notebook. Please don't forget that step, okay? Because I'm supposed to collect them and read them when you're done, okay? This is your writing for this book. You will not be writing a book report for this book, okay? So let's read together. The Mathematical Burglar, Chapter 4. Assaulted, the boys echoed. Who did it? Julius wanted to know. Did they want to kill you? Antonius burst out enthusiastically. Quiet, please, Xanthippus croaked. He was still hoarse. I don't know who the criminal was. I was in bed, sound asleep. In the middle of the night, I was awakened by the sound of someone moving about next door in the classroom. Who's there? I called, but there was no answer. I jumped out of bed and went to see what was the matter. That was foolish of me. I should first have struck a light, for it was pitch dark. Suddenly, a pair of arms seized me, and I tried to grip the unknown by the throat, but he was stronger than I and threw me to the floor. As I tried to get to my feet, I received a severe blow on the head and lost consciousness. Boy, oh boy, Antonius breathed. Xanthippus threw him a stern look and continued. When I came to, I was sitting in the wardrobe, bound and gagged. I heard the burglar rummaging around my things for a long time, as though he were desperately looking for something in particular. Finally, he went away and all was quiet. It seemed ages before I heard you boys arrive, but I could not call to you because of the cloth over my mouth. If you had not freed me so soon, I would certainly have suffocated in the wardrobe. Anxiously, he touched the lump on his head, then felt his injured leg groaning. The whole affair is mystery to me, he said. Who would want to steal anything from me? Perhaps a thief, ventured Julius. I'm not rich like Croesus. Besides, what money I have I keep in the bank. Still, you never know. Clean up all this mess, boys. Then we shall see whether anything is missing. The boys plunged into a flurry of activity. They picked up the furniture and books and dragged tables and chairs and chests back to their proper places. From his bed, Xanthippus directed the work. As they arranged each book, file, or picture, they had to call out what it was, and Xanthippus scratched notes with a stylus on a writing tablet. Finally, they gathered up the scattered writing tablets and returned them to the chest, which the burglar had turned upside down. When all was restored to order, Xanthippus sat staring thoughtfully at his list. At last he announced with astonishment that several mathematical textbooks and a few unimportant pictures were missing. Odd, he said, shaking his head. These things would have no value at all to a stranger. And with a sigh, he added, but for me they are a severe loss. My good old Pythagoras is gone, and the second roll of Euclid's mathematical writings, and my own monumental work on the acute angles of obtuse triangles. Triangles. His voice faded, and he looked at his pupils with eyes full of distress. Antonius seemed to understand his sorrow and offered consolation. The burglar who did this may have been studying mathematics and doesn't have the money to buy books. He heard you were a famous mathematician, and so he came here and hit you on the head, but Xanthippus told him to be quiet. And Publius sneered, I never heard of a burglar studying mathematics. Flavius had something on his mind. Shall we call the police? He said timidly. Xanthippus would not hear of that. Keep the police out of this, please. I know those boys. Just let one of those fellows stick his nose in here and I'll really be in trouble. I know how they work. Questions and more questions till I'm worn thin as a sheet of papyrus. They'll poke around among my things all day, turn everything topsy-turvy and find all kinds of clues, only they won't find the thief. Yes, they're awful dumb, Antonius chimed in. I once asked a policeman at the Forum how late it was. He stared blankly at the big sundial back of the rostrum and finally said, I don't know. It was raining, you see. You talk too much, their teacher commented. Your tongue will be your undoing one of these days. Alarmed, Antonius squinted at the tip of his tongue. You may now go, Xanthippus said. The recent experience had not sweetened his temper. Still, he felt it proper to add, I am thankful to you for coming to my rescue. We only did our duty, Mucius said modestly, and Antonius, not in the least abashed by his teacher's sharp words about his tongue, put in innocently, We knew you were in trouble. We didn't know you were in the wardrobe. We thought that you had been changed into a pig, the way Odysseus's men were by the beautiful enchantress Circe. Xanthippus glared blackly at him. All right, get you to your seats, Mucius ordered, and started driving his friends out of the room. But Xanthippus had other ideas. There will be no school today. You may go home. You need not come tomorrow either. I shall give the class a few days' vacation. I must stay in bed until my leg is better. I shall send word when school starts again. The boys whooped with joy at the unexpected vacation. But Mucius suddenly became grave. Hesitantly, he asked, Then will you not be going to see Rufus's mother today? Xanthippus, who was now standing on one leg and straightening out his bedclothes, pivoted around. See whom? He said absently. Rufus's mother. You were going to see her today because of what Rufus did. Mucius paused and looked distressed. Xanthippus cleared his throat. Oh, yes. He murmured. Wait a moment. Groaning, he crawled back to bed, pulled up the covers, and lay on the pillows, sighing with relief. For a while he stroked his beard reflectively. Then he said, I had no real intention of going to see his mother. My idea was to give Rufus a good scare and teach him a lesson. Then Rufus can come back to school after the vacation, Mucius said happily. He may, Xanthippus replied graciously. On the whole idea that he is not a bad pupil. I wouldn't want to make him miserable because of a single prank. I know what it means to be a young Roman, to be a pupil in the Xanthos school, and I hope you know it too. Oh yes, the boys cried sincerely. They really were proud of their school. Xanthippus nodded with satisfaction, but suddenly turned stern. He barked, But woe betide you if I ever again see such bad conduct and unspeakable lack of discipline as yesterday's. If I ever do, you will all be expelled, and now out with you. The holiday is a gift of the gods, Julius said when they were on the street. He rubbed his hands in glee. We have to celebrate. Let's play cops and robbers, Antonius suggested. I'm the robber and you all can be the policeman. Or we'll play war. I'm the Roman and you're the barbarians. We can play chariot racing too. I'm the driver and you're the horses. You'll be a donkey and we're going to tan your hide, Publius joked. I have a better idea. Let's go to the Tiber. A big Egyptian galley has moored at the cattle market. We can sneak on board and have a good look. So an Egyptian galley is a boat, a big old Egyptian boat, and they want to jump on board and sneak and take a look around. That's dangerous, Flavius warned them. If the sailors catch us, they'll give us a beating. Let's play ball on the field of Mars. No, I have another idea, Julius said. A shipment of wild animals has come in at the Taurus amphitheater. We can watch them being taken to their cages. Marvelous, Antonius agreed. There'll be elephants and lions and dragons. Come on. He was about to start off at a run, but Mucius held him back. We must go see Rufus first, he said. Why? The others wailed in disappointment. To tell him that Xanthippus has called the whole thing off. Poor Rufus thinks he's expelled. He expects Xanthippus to come see his mother. We can't leave him to worry all day long. That would be a mean trick. You're right, Julius said. And then he can come with us. They raced down Broad Street, past the Capitol, to the Forum. The sun had not risen yet, but a few clouds in the sky were flushed with pink, and the eastern horizon was quite bright. The Forum Romanum, which would be swarming with people later, was still almost empty. Only the innumerable pigeons were up and about, circling in huge flocks over the square, and a few slaves were shopping baskets were passing on their way to nearby markets or returning with similar baskets heavily laden. The boys crossed the forum, turned into a narrow, dirty alley, and then climbed a steep stone staircase which led to the plateau of the Esquiline Hill. They were panting by the time they reached the top. Now they were in Minerva Square. From here, it was only a short distance to Rufus's home. Minerva Square was a quiet, open space surrounded by extensive pine woods where wealthy patricians had their mansions. In the center of the square stood the Temple of Minerva, a plain, whitewashed building whose only impressive feature was the columns at the entrance and 3 broad marble steps. But the little temple was very sacred because it was dedicated to the emperor. Opposite the temple, in the shade of the tall cypresses, was the home of Senator Venetius, Caius's father. "I wish I knew why Caius didn't come to school today," Flavius said, staring at the house. "He'll say he had an upset stomach," Publius prophesied. "Shall we tell him there won't be any school for a while?" Julius asked. "No," Mucius decided fiercely. "Let him wait. Give him time to do his homework. It won't harm him. Come along." They hurried on past the house. Just as they reached the temple, the sun rose, bathing them in golden light. Publius stopped immediately. "By all the good gods," he said in quiet horror, pointing at the temple. On the whitewashed wall, angrily scrawled in blood-red paint, were the words, "Caius is a dumb bell." See you later, 3rd grade. I hope you're doing great.